The Star Wars universe has continually been one of the most vivid and exciting environments for players and game designers alike. This fall, LucasArts and Pandemic Studios emerged from hyperspace to present Star Wars Battlefront, one of the most epic and highly anticipated Star Wars-based games ever created.
Star Wars Battlefront is a totally different type of Star Wars game.
You're building your own Star Wars fantasy. You're picking your own characters.
You can be a stormtrooper, a rebel pilot, a clone trooper, battle droid.
Really, at the core of what this game is recreating the great battles.
Any battle you've seen from any Star Wars movie will be in the game.
You watch the movies for such a long time, now you get to actually play the battles in a whole new way.
We've captured a command post.
Star Wars Battlefront combines the best of first-person and third-person action games because you can play from both perspectives. In addition, gamers can choose from several modes of play: single player, the innovative multiplayer Galactic Conquest mode, and even online.
In Galactic Conquest, what you do is you take on the role of one team or one side, for example, the Rebels, and you're trying to take over the whole galaxy. And you move from planet to planet.
One part you might be a Wookiee, and then the next part you might be a droid, and the next part you might be a stormtrooper. So you have just this huge volume of material to really build your own non-linear story. This is introducing a whole new kind of gameplay for Star Wars gamers with multiplayer combat.
What really makes Galactic Conquest mode exciting is that it allows up to 16 players to engage in battles online and up to 32 players over a local area network.
Star Wars Battlefront is a great online game, and what makes it a blast is it gives you the ability to play your buddies in these huge epic battles.
You'll log on and you'll see a list of servers that are out there. You can also start your own server.
If you want to play the Battle of Hoth, it's one way to play it single player, but it's a whole new experience when you play it with your friends.
I think you're going to have a huge online community that's going to be building around this game.
Gamers who don't want to go the multiplayer route can select single-player skirmish mode.
We also have a very robust single-player mode. It's very pick up and play.
Campaign mode actually sets you up in a historical context of the Star Wars films, where you can now fight, starting with the prequels, and fight your way through the Battle of Geonosis and then end up all the way to the Battle of Endor.
That's called the historical campaign, and I think that's probably going to be the #1 way people play this game from a single-player standpoint.
Destroy the shield bunker.
One thing that's sure to excite fans and players alike is that Battlefront will be the very first Star Wars game to feature playable worlds from all 6 chapters of the Star Wars saga, including a never-before-seen planet from Star Wars Episode 3.
It's not just classic era, it's not just new, but it's literally everything.
It covers the totality of the Star Wars experience.
We actually will have planets from all 6 Star Wars movies, including Episode 3.
Those familiar with the iconic vehicles and weaponry in the Star Wars universe will marvel at the game's inclusion of an armada of Imperial AT-ATs, TIE fighters, and speeder bikes, as well as the workhorses of the Rebel Alliance.
We have over 20 different vehicles in Star Wars Battlefront. Of course, we'll have an X-Wing, Y-Wing, TIE Fighter, TIE Bomber. We'll have the AT-AT, AT-ST, speeder bike. So those are some of the classic vehicles. From the new movies, we'll have the Republic gunship, some of the battle tanks like the AAT.
Battlefront players will be able to take on the role of up to 4 different character types among the Star Wars galaxy's 4 largest factions: Rebel Alliance, Clone Army, Imperial Army, and Droid Army.
In addition to those 4 basic classes for each side, there are 2 special classes. For the Imperials, there is an Imperial Dark Trooper. He's a sort of a beefed-up stormtrooper with a jetpack. For the battle droids, for example, there is a destroyer droid, or droideka. He's a very interesting unit. I think that's something that we can only get in a Star Wars game.
One of the things that makes Rebels special are Wookiees. Everyone loves Wookiees, everyone loves Chewbacca. One of the characters you can play in the Rebels is as a Wookiee. When you're playing as a Wookiee, your special ability is the ability to repair, vehicles that are in the field.
With infinite open-ended outcomes and the gamer's ability to always find a battle in progress online, the creative team behind the game has made replayability an integral factor in the game's design and appeal.
This game is just jam-packed with replayability because there's no set outcome. The way you play the game determines how the game's going to end.
Destroy the shield bunker.
You can play every campaign as a Rebel and then go back and play as an Imperial.
And then in multiplayer, of course, that's where replayability really comes in. You could play this game for months and months and months on end, and you'll never repeat the exact same experience.
We've captured a command post.
With Episode 3, the highly anticipated final chapter in the Star Wars saga just around the corner, Star Wars Battlefront is sure to give gamers and fans alike the ultimate Star Wars experience.
We've all watched the movies and seen the battles for a long time, but now it gives you a chance to kind of live the battles in a whole new way.
There is a full experience in this game.
Our reinforcements are being depleted.
Star Wars Battlefront 2. Come on. The first thing that I want to know about Star Wars Battlefront 2 is
There is some Wookiee in the game, yeah. Yeah, it's there.
why am I going to go plunk down some money to buy Battlefront 2?
We have some really major enhancements to the game. The first one is that you can fly in space. You got space combat in Battlefront 2. It's all new to Star Wars Battlefront 2. These really massive, immersive space battles. You can dogfight, you can take over capital ships. You can actually fly a TIE fighter into a rebel frigate, land, get out, and start shooting rebels. That TIE fighter pilot can jump into an X-Wing if he wants. He just, and so now he's flying around in an X-Wing, blowing away rebel ships with their own ship. The other major thing that we're adding is Jedi. So it's not available in the first game, but now in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you've got Jedi characters, and they're fully integrated into single player and multiplayer as well. So Jedi are a major faction. We've got a lot of hero characters. We're not announcing all of them just yet, but we are showing Obi-Wan here at the show. This is our Obi-Wan Kenobi model. He's based on Ewan McGregor's performance. He's the young Obi-Wan. General Grievous is also in Episode 3. Darth Vader, of course. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely using hero characters that people are going to be very familiar with from the films.
Mercenaries, an awesome game. This is Peter Hirschman. He's here to tell us about it. What's your official title?
I'm the external producer at LucasArts.
Mercenaries, it plays on a little bit of history. How much history do you actually incorporate in the game?
It plays on the long history of conflict in the North Korea, South Korea, DMZ region. And you're going in to help clean up the mess that's been caused by all this chaos. And unlike other countries, they actually do have WMDs. Those are on the loose now, and it's your job to go in with the UN and find all of them before bad things happen.
This is a huge, lush, rich game. It's visually beautiful. Tell me about what you wanted to achieve when you were coming up with the graphics.
The team at Pandemic, it's a wonderful, rare combination of really good engineers and really good artists that know how to talk to each other. And the particle systems, the fire and smoke effects and the explosions, which are so important to military games, are probably some of the best you've ever seen on a PlayStation.
Well, in gaming, there is seemingly no bigger universe than the Star Wars universe. This is Jim So, producer of Star Wars Battlefront. Hi, Jim. Congratulations on the game.
Thank you. We wanted to recreate the movie in a way that's never been done before. What we really wanted to do was to have you and me jump into a snowspeeder, one of us flying it, one of us shooting a tow cable, and us working together to last it down and AT-AT.
And it's not just me, is it? How many players can play at one time on this game?
Well, we can have up to 16 players online, more than that on the land. Star Wars Battlefront is an action shooter game. You can play in first person or third person, whatever you want, anytime you want.
Cool. Okay, Jim, thanks so much. Good luck with the game. September 21st. That's Jim So. Yo, he's so cool.
I've had a lot of crazy assignments in my days PP, but this one takes the cake. We're on Yavin with Chris from LucasArts talking about Star Wars Battlefront. What are we doing here, Chris?
Well, we're here witnessing a battle. The rebels have just ambushed the Imperials, okay? And
Is this safe? The laser blast right here.
You'll be fine, you'll be fine. If you're making a game about Star Wars Battlefronts, you need to be in the battlefront.
There's a difference between in the battlefront and being dead like this guy right here.
He's just stunned, he'll be fine.
Just tell me about the game then, because I'm freaked out.
Well, the game allows you to participate in the battles that you've always seen in the movies. The Hoth battle where you have the ATSTs and the AT-ATs and the snow troopers and everything going on. You can actually participate in that as a foot soldier. You can play the Imperial pilots, you can play stormtroopers, you can play a Republic Vanguard. Those guys get rocket launchers. You've got Rebel soldiers, you've got snipers, and then from the new Star Wars, we've got droidicas, we've got super battle droids, we've got the Republic clone. It's totally insane.
Chris, what are we seeing right now?
Right here we have the rebels. They're fanning out in formation. They're trying to find the Imperials. What they're gonna do is probably set up some sort of ambush because the rebels don't like face on. They're more guerrilla tactics.
So it's sort of, there's a lot of stealth, it seems like, right? Is that what the game's like? There's a lot of stealth?
Well, you'll notice up on that hill there. Go ahead and use these. There's an Imperial sniper who caught it all. He's definitely gonna let his guys know. Now here come the stormtroopers. They're tracking the rebels. Make sure you keep your eyes down. They will not hesitate to shoot you. Keep your eyes down. Don't look at them.
Stay alert. Keep in formation.
Notice how they walk two abreast down the pathway. It makes them an easy target for the rebel ambush. We've got a rebel sniper over here.
I can faintly see him in the distance there. We better get out of here. Let's go. So what kind of weapons do these guys have?
They've got all sorts of... Whoa. We should probably stay a little lower. There's an ATST right over the hill. But we've got rocket launchers, we've got blaster rifles. You get to participate in the Battle of Hoth. You get to go on Endor and race through in speeder bikes. You get to get into ATSTs, air vehicles, land vehicles, over 30 different vehicles.
So you're going to be, playing on foot, you're going to be in vehicles. What else are you going to do in the actual missions for this game?
Well, you're actually going to... Yeah. Well, if you play single player, we've got 3 different ways to play. You can do a galactic conquest where you're just invading 10 different planets, 15 different maps, go into different areas. You get to go on Hoth, you get to go to Yavin, you get to go to Endor. Then you can also play historical campaigns. So you can do the Battle of Hoth the way that we had it at Lucasfilm way long time ago. And when we go to Hoth, by the way, you're going to want to dress formal.
So, Chris, what can you tell us about the Episode 3 content? We're going to see a lot of new Star Wars stuff in this game.
It's time to go.
Whoa! Are you okay? Oh my God, are you alright? I don't know what's going on. Oh my God, there's just an ATST! This is Jeff Keighley signing off for EP!
In that, the headset with the microphone and everything. You look like you're ready to call the game. Josie.
I feel like I'm Howard Cosell with this.
And you look a little like Howard Cosell.
He looks a little bit more like Madonna, don't you think?
Absolutely.
With his microphone.
I've been trying.
He's got the little slim thing going.
Yeah.
The only difference is he has no prophylactic protection on his headset.
I hope not.
He's riding bareback there. The name of the show is The David Lawrence Show, special IGN Game Spy Live Wire edition. We are live from the floor at E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and we've been here. This is going on 2.5 hours now. And as I said to you, Greg, everything is going scaringly smooth.
Yeah,
which means massive disaster is lurking in the background, waiting to leap out at us, no doubt about it. Greg Board is with us, and Andrew Goldman, Director of Production and CEO, respectively, of Pandemic Studios. And we're back on the Star Wars kick. We were talking about the fact that you call them the 501st?
The 501st.
501st. Those are the guys walking around?
Yeah, you ever see a stormtrooper around here? They're from the 501st, yeah.
Well, we found out that the stormtrooper could actually sit.
I don't know how. I don't think that could happen.
And we conjecture also that they make all their own costumes, yes?
Yes, that's true.
Out of parts from a Honda.
They're rust-proof.
There you go. They're made out of the plastic thing. But speaking of cars, by the way, we're giving away a Jetta next door. Have you seen the car? The cherry
I did, the red one right around the corner.
Yeah, we're giving that away.
Yeah, I signed up, so hopefully I'll be driving out here.
So if you're coming down to E3 at all, if you're in the area and you're listening, you're coming down to E3, we'd love to have you. And you can enter online as well. Just go to IGN or GameSpy.com. And if you're looking to, rather than crib the audio stream, go to GameSpy Arcade to download that. Did I understand correctly, Spiff, we have 1,000 video streams?
That's correct, sir.
You realize we've now eclipsed the total viewership of G4?
Oh, that's nice.
These guys are right outside. They're going to be looking for you.
I care. That's the point. I'm a shock jock, dude. Come on. Here we go. No, the deal is that, really, seriously, Arbitron has called and said, what? You don't have a transmitter? That's what's going on right now. We're talking about Star Wars Battlefront, and obviously you're looking to release this later this year, the day after my birthday. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the way we planned
wonderful birthday present.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is it that you guys Id can't come up with a release date other than summer, but you guys come up with a release date that's so specific in September. How is this humanly possible? Do you have better? You know what? You have better people who work on projects.
Those are marketing decisions, not developer decisions. As developers, you like to leave that date wide open until it's not done until it's done mentality. I saw Todd was here earlier, and I'm sure that's the id mentality.
That's exactly what he said. He
it's
said
not
there's a creative
done until
process,
it's done.
and we're not interrupting that creative process.
Yeah. Well,
so what about you guys? So where are you with the game? Is it finished?
Yeah. No, it's we've got about 3 months left. We're at what we'd call an alpha phase, so everything is done in the game. But now we spend the rest of the time, polishing everything and balancing everything. There's a big emphasis on multiplayer in this game,
right?
So we want to make sure we have plenty of time to be balancing that it's fine tuned. So once it gets out there and thousands and thousands of people are playing it, it's a good experience.
As a CEO, most people think CEO, they think Jack Welch. They think, investor relations, maybe get out there with the sales team and go rah-rah. What's your life like every day?
What's my life like? Every day, we're coming in and we're trying to, do a better job. So make better games.
How hands-on are you with the development?
We're very hands-on.
No,
it's all, me?
You personally?
Yeah, I'm right there with everyone. Every day we sit down, we play the games, we talk about what we want to do, and we're all making decisions together on how we're going to make them better.
So what don't we know about, obviously rumors abound, but what don't we know about this game that would be surprising when it comes out?
Well, let me see. What don't you know? I think everybody knows that you can kill Ewoks and Jawas and Tusken Raiders and
Thank God.
Any Jar Jar, any sort of creature that you've ever wanted to kill, you can in this game, including other guys. But sometimes it's nice just to walk around, pop these guys off.
Yeah.
You can run around behind Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and all the great characters from the movies. You can play from a single-player experience all the great battles from the film. You can start with Episode 1, go all the way through Episode 6. We even have some exclusive content from Episode 3, which is coming out next summer. So a little sneak peek at that. It's a huge game. You can play it single-player. You can play it online. It's from a testing standpoint, it takes us days to just get through all the possibilities. So it's a very big game. We're very excited about it, and hopefully
Have
be
you talked
wrapping
about
up
how
soon.
long it's going to take to play?
Oh, wow. Well, as a multiplayer aspect, it can go for months and months, So with the multiplayer component, you could play this thing forever.
Okay. We want to go to the chat room and get some questions. We can do that, so get them ready. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Fantasy Film League. You think you know movies? Either of you play fantasy sports games?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Of course. I ask this question all the time. People go, what?
He wanted to be Madden when he sat down here.
Really?
Yeah. No,
so you play like the salary cap versions of games and stuff?
I used to be in a really hardcore baseball league with a bunch of sportscasters in L.A., and they all were great at it. And once our rosters had to get up to 75 people on your roster, that's when I dropped out. I was like, forget it. They're drafting high schoolers.
Here, Fantasy Film League. If you were like going to the movies, draft a team, not a team, but a cast of 6 actors and a director, and play a recorder, and find out which ones get into the theaters. Their movies do well. You make money.
Right.
Fantasy Film League over at fantasyfilmleague.com.
Sounds good.
You can join up. You can cast your fantasy film. Join our mini league. It's number 754, and the password to join is online.
Yeah.
That's at fantasyfilmleague.com. It's the David Lawrence Show. We're live at E3 on the floor at the Electronics Entertainment Expo. Special IGN GameSpy Livewire edition of the show for the next 3 days. We'll be here. And we're talking to both Greg Burrid and Andrew Goldman of Pandemic Studios. Am I pronouncing both of your names properly?
You are indeed.
All right, good. Because I used to work with an Andrew Goldman who freaked me out. And when I saw that name, I was like, it's not him. Good. Okay. Let's go to the chat room and see if we have some questions for the people from Pandemic.
Yes. Sauron wants to know which multiplayer game modes Battlefront is going to support.
Yeah, so there's a couple different kinds of game modes that you can play. The overall concept of the game is fairly much straightforward. You have a certain amount of reinforcements that your two sides draw upon, and the object is to drain the other side's reinforcements down to 0. You do that by killing guys. You also do that by taking over significant command posts throughout the battlefield.
It's important to remember the object of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like people don't realize that Monopoly's object is to bankrupt the other players. Right. They think it's like to make it last for 70 hours.
To
That's
not go
the
to
point.
jail, right.
No. The point here is to drain the reinforcements.
Yeah, so there's this kind of Uber thing you're trying to do, but while you're in the game, you're just going around killing anything you see. But there are very clear objectives. You can play that then just in instant action, just go in and play one-off games. But we have a new mode, which we call Galactic Conquest, that we're pretty excited about. And what this is imagine a board game like a Risk, where we're looking at it and we decide which battles we want to play on. And we then jump in as a group of players and go out and fight out that battle. Whoever wins it now controls that planet. The more planets I control, the more kind of bonuses I can bring to bear in the battlefield. So it's a way of extending instead of having these one-off multiplayer games, you can have a multiplayer game with two clans that could last over weeks and weeks as they're fighting for control of the entire galaxy. So
when will this go into beta? Because obviously you guys can post it inside, you can play it inside, but it isn't until the at least part of the general public gets their hands on it that it starts to
we're already starting to get some of the general public involved here and there in very limited group because we want to make sure we're always getting good hands-on feedback. But I'd say we've been looking in the mid to end of June for starting to roll this out, testing it with all the different groups.
All right.
It's a little different with being a console. I mean, we've got PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. The PC is an easier thing to go out with the beta, but PS2 and Xbox makes it a little more challenging.
Is it just because it's hard to contact the players, or
no? It's because really everything works on dev systems, and players just don't have dev systems out there. We're a PC, we just upload that thing and go. So
sure. Back to the chat room.
So Moro36, who interestingly is actually one of the mod coders for the Battlefield 1942 Eve of Destruction mod, is very curious about the support that Battlefront is going to offer to mod developers like himself. He's a little frustrated with some of the experience he's had in the past and wants to know.
Yeah, I mean, we completely value the mod community. It's something going back to our previous games of Pandemic being Battlezone and Dark Reign. We've always made sure that we supply very strong tools so people can do with that as they please. We haven't announced anything officially with Battlefront, but it's definitely something we're planning on as we go through the PC, and we'll have more information coming soon.
Okay. How do you handle complaints? I mean, obviously people complain about things all the time, but how do you handle complaints as somebody who's ultimately in charge of customer satisfaction?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think, oftentimes...
Does it ever get to you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And what we try to do is we try to help people out. So, we still have people that are supporting the Battlezone mod community out there. And, when they have an issue, when they can't get it to run on a system, we still try and do what we can to help people.
I wasn't really speaking of getting to you as in reaching you. I was saying getting to you as in, does it get to you after a while where you go, just shut up and play the game?
No, it's part of the business.
Okay.
And we appreciate how people will actually take to our products and change them and add to them and give us great feedback on what we should be doing next. And so, we got to support them.
All right. There certainly is an amount of having to give up the ego and give up the creative control once it's out there. You have to sort of admit to yourself now it's no longer ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to do.
It is. Back to the chat. We got time for one more.
Yeah, so Corporal Sleepy wants to know how many players is the game going to support online, both in the PC and then in the Xbox version?
Well, wake up, Corporal Sleepy first. It's going to be 16 people on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, 32 people on the PC, and if you're on a LAN, we should be able to go up significantly from there.
Significantly meaning?
5,423.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. Probably about 64.
Okay. So
one of these days.
So you can double up, and that's...
Absolutely, yeah you should be able to double up.
So September 21st is when it's due out.
Yeah, it's going to be sim shipping with a DVD. So, Star Wars original trilogy is going to be coming out into stores, and so there's going to be a very huge push with this game going simultaneously.
Is there going to be a preview on the Star Wars DVD? Or?
There is a preview and a demo on Star Wars DVD. So a very cool opportunity for all of us Star Wars
Had you announced that?
fans. I believe we had. I hope we have, because otherwise we just did.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more questions. Greg Burrid and Andrew Goldman, our guests from Pandemic Studios. We're talking Star Wars, and we'll be back in just a moment. Star Wars Battlefront. Back in a moment with the David Lawrence Show. Now we're live on the floor at E3, the Electronics Entertainment Expo in Los Angeles, California. And we're doing the David Lawrence Show live here. Spiff is with me. Cobb is in the chat room. We've got a bunch of people that are taking care of the video. The people from eBroadcasters are here. Josie's doing a fantastic job on the board. Much better than I thought you'd do. And Max and Victoria are here as well, helping us run down things. We now have word that the Playmates will be here at 3:50.
3:50, okay.
So it's a perfect dessert.
Down to the wire. Yeah.
Dessert at the end of the day. This is your main course. We'll have an aperitif, and then of course they have to have their collars and cuffs. They can't be on camera without their full costume.
Tough job you got
it
here.
Is.
Sounds
yeah.
like
So
someone's got to do it.
They're going to sit much closer to me than you are.
That's fine.
Yeah. Greg Bird is with us. Borid And Andrew Goldman. Greg is the director of production, and Andrew is the CEO at Pandemic Studios. And we're talking Star Wars Battlefront. I want to kind of turn it over to the chat room and see what kind of questions we have and give you full-on frontal attack from the chat room. Spiff?
Absolutely. So Bloomit wants to know, will any of the original Star Wars actors be doing voices in the game at all?
I don't believe they are. No.
Apparently nobody called Mark Hamill. He'd like to do the voice work.
It's a good question, but in this kind of game, there's not a lot, as with the online component, there's not a lot of chat going on with the main characters. You get briefings from, Yoda and the Emperor, etc. But, Luke
no Frank Oz.
No.
All right, it's cool.
But that's all right.
There you go.
So Fragman X9 wants to know what sort of types of vehicles are going to be in the game that people can use.
There's so many vehicles in this game. I think there's a total of about over 30 vehicles in the game which are side specific. You got ATST and AT-AT, speeder bikes, X-Wings, TIE fighters, you name it. You saw it in a movie. It's in there. Plus, I think there's probably another 20 or 30 planet-specific vehicles, like the Tauntaun on Hoth, or the land cruiser like Luke's land speeder on Tatooine. So there's just a whole host of vehicles, everything from a small speeder bike up to the giant AT-AT.
Do the children of the neighborhood look at you like you're a freakish man because you know all these names and words and so on? No. Just because the language that you speak is not a language that normally comes out of someone who's your height.
You should sit in a design meeting that we have sometimes. It's so silly.
Yeah.
Like,
but
someone was
right
talking about
away.
lasers. It's like, there's lasers. There are lasers everywhere. And then another guy's like, dude, it's the future, man. And another guy's like, no, it was a long time ago. And these are the kind of stupid things that come up all day long. But it's great. I mean, it's just, everyone that works on the team's avid Star Wars fans, knows everything about the movies. It's kind of a prerequisite for being passionate about it.
How do you hire people like this? I mean, there's got to be people out there that would just kill to be on a team like this, have all the street cred and have all the knowledge of the games and stuff. But how do you hire somebody like this? Do they have to be in the right place at the right time, or what?
How do we hire someone like Greg?
No, not someone like Greg. But someone who's maybe just lying in the trenches.
We look for people who really have a passion for games, and it typically comes from people sending us examples of games that they've built. With people just out of school, the first question is, when did you start programming and why? And the right answer, I shouldn't reveal it, is that as a kid to make games, and that's what we look for.
There you go. Back to the chat room with Spiff.
Yeah. So General Pandemonium wants to know: is there going to be the ability for people to engage in any lightsaber duels at all?
No. There was a lot of these kind of silly debates about lightsabers and are not lightsabers, and the general sense for this game was, let's leave lightsabers out because, in theory, Jedi should be all-powerful. And with a serious thought of balance, we didn't want to unbalance the game with having certain people be Jedis in the game. But what we have done is, again, have the hero characters in there. So there will be characters running around with lightsabers, and you have the ability to decide when these characters come in and when they leave. So you will be running behind Darth Vader. You will be fighting alongside Luke Skywalker, but you yourself will never be able to run around with lightsaber in hand. Plus, it just doesn't make sense. You're fighting the Battle of Endor, which everybody's seen in the movie, and then you've got 20 guys running around with lightsabers. Luke's supposed to be the only guy, Luke and Darth Vader. If you really want to get technical.
Let's get technical.
I can't.
Let's get technical.
I can bust some Star Wars ass.
That's right. There you go.
I can tell
Please be careful. We're on live radio. Go ahead. Back to the chat room.
So Krabby Crab wants to know what sort of classes or player types are going to be found in the game. Who can you play while you're in there?
Yeah, so there's 5 different classes on the 4 sides. There's 4 sides to the game, which are in the classic Star Wars eras, the Rebels versus the Empire. In the new Star Wars movies, it's the Republic versus the Separatists. Each side has 5 characters. You've got standard classes like an infantryman, a heavy weapons guy, a scout, which is usually a sniper. And then there's a couple specialty classes which really help differentiate the side. For example, in the Rebels, you can play as a Wookiee. And a Wookiee, much like Chewbacca, has his bowcaster, but also has the ability to repair things. So he can go around fixing vehicles, building turrets, etc. On something like the The Republic side, we have the jetpack trooper. He has a jetpack on his back. He's able to fly around this map and be able to get places where the regular players aren't able to get to. So each one of the 4 sides has a unique specialty character, and then other than that, there's little changes between, a scout or a sniper or a heavy weapons guy.
All right, Greg Borah, Director of Production, Andrew Goldman, CEO of Pandemic Studios. I really appreciate you being on with us. Nice way to wrap up the first day of broadcasting for GameSpy and for IGN and the Livewire thing. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Name of the show is The David Lawrence Show. If you have not seen or heard the audio, seen the video, heard the audio, you can always tune in over at GameSpyArcade.com or at IGN Insider at IGN.com. And also make sure you make yourself aware of all the different things you can get at GameSpy and at IGN, including the planets, including the vaults, etc. And we will be back here tomorrow. Now, for those of you that are listening to the live stream during the day, we've got 2 more hours of stuff, including the Playboy Bunnies. For the rest of you, we will see you tomorrow from E3.
I'm really impressed